Chirayu.
Okay.
You're audible.
We shall begin with the introduction of the session. A very good afternoon to all the participants present here. We warmly welcome you all to this webinar on the topic GST Appellate Tribunal. Now, before jumping right into the content, let us have a quick briefing about the HN & Co LLP firm and our speakers for the day. HN & Co LLP was established by Sir Madhukar and Hiragange in the year 1988 in Bangalore. As a firm, we have always focused in practice of indirect taxation, which includes GST, customs, FTP, etc. Started with a head office in Bangalore, HNA is currently in 17 cities all across India. Further, HN & Co LLP firmly believes on knowledge sharing, and its partners have authored around 28 books in indirect taxation till date, published by leading publishing authorities. The partners of HN & Co LLP are also actively engaged in teaching and writing articles in indirect taxation. Our first speaker for the day is CA Ravi Kumar Sumani, who is a partner at HN & Co LLP, Pune branch. Ravi sir qualified as a chartered accountant in the year 2012 and is currently pursuing LLP. He practiced exclusively in the area of GST, customs and FTP. Ravi sir has performed indirect tax reviews across varied sectors and has guided clients on transaction structuring, workable business models, developing systems and processes for compliance under indirect taxations, which includes GST. He has given lectures at various professional forums on GST and service tax. Ravi sir has also written various analytical and issue-based articles on important matters concerning indirect taxes. He has authored multiple books and is a regular speaker at various professional forums like ICI, MCCIA, etc. Currently, Ravi sir heads the Pune branch of the firm. The next speaker for our day is CA Lakshman Kumar Kadali, who is a partner at HN & Co LLP, Hyderabad branch. Lakshman sir qualified as a chartered accountant in the year 2016 and currently is a partner at HN & Co LLP, heading the legal division in Hyderabad branch. He has appeared before various tax authorities, which include GSTAT, and is an active contributor of case law updates and articles on various professional forums. Lakshman sir's key area of specialization includes Indian GST litigation and pre-GST litigation, including customs and FTP. Lakshman sir is also involved in contributing seminars for various professional institutes, including ICI, and has also contributed in background research of books such as GST Judicial Precedents published by Tax Utram. Lakshman sir is also author of the book The Practical Guide to Amnesty under GST. Next speaker for our day shall be CA Venkatesh Agrawal, who is the Senior Manager at HN & Co LLP, Pune branch. Venkatesh sir is a qualified chartered accountant and is currently pursuing LLP. He presently manages the litigation division at Pune branch. Venkatesh sir practiced exclusively in the area of GST, customs and FTP, mainly focusing at key areas of litigations and refund. He has appeared before various quasi-judicial authorities, appellate authorities, tribunals for legal matters under indirect taxation. Venkatesh sir has also given lectures at various professional forums on GST and has contributed in writing of the book Judicial Precedents under GST. Now, as we move on to today's session on the GST Appellate Tribunal, we encourage each one of you to actively participate, reflect, and engage with practical insights that will be shared by our speakers. The constitution of GSTAT marks a significant development in GST regime, and understanding its framework, powers, and procedures is crucial for every professional and businesses. With the rich experience and practical exposure of our esteemed speakers, we are confident that this session will not only enhance your technical understanding, but also equip you with the actionable clarity for handling appellate tribunal matters. Now, without taking much time, I would like to hand this over session to the Ravi sir, who will set the context for us by giving a brief introduction and walking us through the fundamentals of GST Appellate Tribunal. Over to you, Ravi sir.
Thanks a lot, Chirayu. I hope I am audible.
Yes, sir. You are perfectly audible.
Yes, sir.
Okay, perfect. So, at the outset, I would like to thank all the participants for choosing to attend this particular event. It's quite a momentous occasion, I must say, where we are all going to now see the history being, written. Whether history would get repeated or would it get rewritten is a question that is open. But it's been almost more than 9 years that the GST law has been implemented, And I would say the memories of implementation about exactly 10 years back, we all were actually doing as professionals in indirect taxes. We were actually guiding our clients in doing pre-GST implementation studies, GST impact studies, handholding and implementation of GST. And I must say 10 years has just gone by. And today we are talking about all the host of issues that have emanated out of this law hopefully would get settled as things would move. Very important also is that just yesterday we received the first order by the GST Appellate Tribunal, and it was a delight to actually see while the order remanded back the whole thing to the lower authority. But it was quite a sensible order where they actually allowed, where it was on account of mismatch between GSTR 1 and 3B, the credit notes were directly adjusted in 3B. The tribunal actually allowed that particular thing and asked them to open the portal for a month for them to update those things in the portal by remanding it back to the lower authority with the proper directions. It's a welcome order, I must say. And if we have to take something out of this, and if we see this type of orders in the GST law in the times to come, I feel that would be the real justice to the taxpayers in indirect taxes, because we all know that corporate litigation, the balance sheets across the corporates are filled up with contingent liabilities on account of GST. The litigation in GST has gone to so much level that now we have softwares to track GST litigation. Many companies are having only GST litigation trackers because it's at a different scale, and businesses having multiple GST registrations. I'm sure every day, every week they would have meetings. Okay, what happened to that order or this order? That's the level at which the litigation has gone into indirect taxes. So the tone of our today's discussion, the way we have framed, is I would quickly run you through about GST Appellate Tribunal basics. I would not take much time because I assume most of you are aware about the basics. And today's discussion, we are actually focusing more on the complex legal issues rather than talking about the basics. Lakshman, my partner, would cover the filing procedure, because that is where a lot of people have doubts, questions, need an understanding. So he would actually take a proper walkthrough of the filing procedure. And then Lakshman and I would try to answer some critical legal questions or issues. And then we open to audience for questions. And we'll try to give enough time for Q&A by audience, because I'm sure all of you would be having a lot of questions relating to this whole GSTAT framework and working. So just to give a quick basics, GST Appellate Tribunal, which is a second appellate authority in the indirect tax GST law framework. So any matter which starts through, let us say, investigation or audit or assessment or scrutiny, then there is the issue of show cause notice. On a reply to a show cause notice, if the officer is not satisfied, then the order is issued. And to an order, there is an appeal that is filed. So that appeal which is filed against an order in original, lies before the first appellate authority. And if the first appellate authority also passes an order not in favor of the taxpayer or the department whatsoever, then the next appeal against the order passed by the first appellate authority lies with the tribunal, basically GST Appellate Tribunal. So this is mainly the flow of the litigation in GST. And of course, if the order of tribunal is also not in favor, then one can go to High Court and then of course to Supreme Court. So just to give a brief context of this GST Appellate Tribunal. So if any assessee is looking to file an appeal before the GST Appellate Tribunal, then the time limit is 3 months from the date of communication of the order, and it can be condoned by another 3 months. So basically 3 months plus additional 3 months. For the first time now that for the past 10 years of litigation would now be taken up before the tribunal. So the time limit is for all the orders that are already received. Time limit is 30th June 2026. So by 30th June 2026, you need to make sure that the appeal is filed before on the GSTAT portal. Very important is that the entire mechanism of GST Appellate Tribunal, there is this concept of principal bench and state bench. So each state would have a state bench. Some states would also have multiple state benches. So each state bench would have 2 judicial members and 2 technical members, 1 technical member center and 1 technical member state. And it need not be that all the hearings are taken up by all the 4 members. There are some matters that can be taken by 2 members bench. In fact, most of the matters can be taken up by 2 members bench, and certain matters can also be taken by a single member bench. So the matters where the quantum is less than 50 lakh rupees can be taken up by single member bench, and also there should not be any question of law. So if a matter is pure question of facts and less than 50 lakh rupees, then it can be also done by a single member bench. Rest of the matters would be before a 2-member bench, which is 1 judicial member and 1 technical member. Matters relating to place of supply, input service distribution, national advance ruling matters, anti-profiteering would go before the principal bench. Principal bench sits in Delhi. So one of the senior judicial member in the principal bench would be the president of GST Appellate Tribunal. Very important is that the whole concept of GST Appellate Tribunal filing is going to be online, wherein the whole paperwork that was there in the GSTAT regime would not be there. The whole mechanism is online. So there are a lot of benefits of things being online. And of course, it comes with a lot of pain and effort that would go, which Lakshman would provide with a proper walkthrough. So this is, I would say, a broad framework of the GST Appellate Tribunal setup. In fact, the hearings have already started in few of the benches. Tribunals are taking virtual hearings as well as physical hearings. In some benches, the infrastructure is not ready, and hence the things have not started. For example, in Pune, the infrastructure itself is still yet to be in place. Only once that is ready, the hearings would start, while the appointment of members and all that thing is already done. So this is just to give a brief overview of what is the GST Appellate Tribunal and some basics to start with. I would ask Lakshman now to actually take us through the filing procedure, because I'm sure most of you would be more keen in understanding that than knowing the basics, which we are all already aware about. So Lakshman, over to you. Maybe if you can take us through the filing procedure of this appeal before GST Appellate Tribunal.
Yes. Fine, sir. Thank you very much, sir, for setting the context. I hope my voice is audible. Chirayu, can you confirm?
You are audible.
Yes, sir, you are perfectly audible.
Yes. I will just project my screen, just give me confirmation whether it is visible.
Yes, sir, your screen is also visible.
Yes. So good afternoon, everyone. So today I'm going to take you through this GSTAT portal filing procedure. So the portal is ready, okay, from September. So the government and the president of GSTAT has clearly stated that we can file an appeal online, okay, from September 22nd. On 22nd September, they have inaugurated this portal, and from then this portal is available for filing the appeals. From past few months, so many of us have been facing difficulties and we don't know how to file this appeal. So what is the mechanism in which we need to sign the documents, how to upload it, what are the details required for filing the appeals? We have a lot of confusion. Even we face all those things from past few months. But once we started filing and started uploading documents for different kinds of appeals, like appeal filed by the taxpayer, okay, appeal filed by the department, refund related orders. For different kinds of orders, we have done this filing and we have started exploring the portal. Then we came to know about different issues, okay, to proceed and file an appeal in the GSTAT portal. So if you see generally, section says that section 112 says that we can file an appeal to GST tribunal against the orders of the appellate authority, okay, who is appellate authority under section 107 and the revisional authority under 108. So these are the two sections against which we can file an appeal to the GST portal. So now everyone is having a doubt how to file an appeal. So if you see rule, whether it is manually or online. So online, because the president has announced that we need to file it online. So most of the people are aware that this filing needs to be done online. And the rule says GSTAT procedure rule 18 also specifically states that all appeals should be filed online only. There is no concept of filing manual appeals to GSTAT, GST Appellate Tribunal. It should be only online. So we should know how to file appeal online in the GSTAT portal. So we all know that government has notified this GSTAT portal. Okay, so today I'm going to take you through all the fields, what are the details we require and what are the issues we are facing. So how we need to file an appeal in the GSTAT portal. So I'm going to cover about this taxpayers registration and authorized representative registration procedure. And I'm also going to navigate through GSTAT portal completely and how to file an appeal on the GSTAT portal. So we know that we have under GST, we have multiple GST registrations across the state. And we have the GST portal wherein we can collect and we can view all our data at a centralized platform. So similarly for GST Appellate Tribunal also, this portal works as a centralized platform wherein we can check all our pending appeals and we can file all appeals online. We need not visit the respective states and we can sit at our corporate office and we can do all this filing. So this is a centralized platform for filing GSTAT appeals across India. And this online procedure, it enhances the transparency and we have all the documents online. We can go back and cross check. Okay, so then government also, so they want to digitize, okay, all the documents and at the same time they also want to conduct the hearings online. If you see, Ravi sir has referred the first GSTAT order yesterday. So yesterday the GSTAT has passed this first order. So in that they have mentioned that all the proceedings have been conducted through online mode only. The filing of appeal and the hearing took place online and the order has specifically mentioned this aspect. So in future, for GSTAT appeals, we can see that all the hearings may take place online. You can sit at your corporate office and you can file the appeals and you can attend the hearings. So this is the GSTAT portal homepage. So it looked like this. So here we have different tabs. It says home button, about us, help center, contact us, and register and login. So to file an appeal to the GSTAT portal, so all the taxpayers has to register themselves in this portal. And at the same time, in case if you want to act as an authorized representative, you are required to register in this portal. So this is registration is required for both taxpayers and at the same time, the persons who want to act as an authorized representative and argue the case before the GST tribunal. So once you click on this register tab, so you will find these four options. You want to register as a taxpayer or tax official or as an authorized representative or an advocate or any other category. We have these four categories. If you are a taxpayer, you can proceed to select this taxpayer option. So once you proceed to taxpayers option, so you will have this tab. Here, the only thing which you need to give is you need to give GSTN of your entity. You can give the GSTN and the portal is retrieving all your details like mobile number, name of the company, jurisdiction and address of the company and email ID and mobile number from the GST portal. It is retrieving details from your regular GST portal. So you are required to give only your GSTN. Once you give GSTN, all these details are getting auto-populated. Then you need to verify this tab by giving OTP which you receive to your email ID, and at the same time you will also receive OTP to your mobile number. So once you give that OTPs, you will get an user ID and password to your registered email ID. So once it is done, so your registration process gets completed. So this is very simple. You just need to give your GSTN number and the mobile number and the email ID, or OTP which you receive in your mobile number and email ID. So then you can proceed. You can proceed for filing the appeal. So in some cases, we have faced certain issues when we are doing this registration. So in some cases, what is happening is, if you see this GSTN, we have given 37. 37 means Andhra Pradesh. But if you see the jurisdiction, it is mentioning the jurisdiction as Telangana. But 37 registration pertains to AP. So there is some errors which we are facing at the time of registration, so which we need to be careful. So when we go back and check the reason, what we have identified is, in this case, the director address is in the state of Telangana. If you see the right hand side, address, pin code and designation, so this contains the address of Telangana. So based on the director's address, the jurisdiction is being captured at the time of registration. So we have raised a grievance in the GSTAT portal. GSTAT portal has also have this grievance redressal mechanism. You can see that a separate tab called Help Center is available. In that Help Center, you can file this grievance, and we have filed this couple of days back and we are yet to receive a response. So in case if you are facing any issues with respect to the registration, you can go back and file a grievance in this Help Center. So once this registration is completed, so you can proceed for filing an appeal. So now I will take you through the registration process of the authorized representative. So once you select the option as a registration for authorized representative, so you will be directed to this tab. So before this, you need to know who can act as a authorized representative. You can see in this slide, any advocate or legal representative can act as a authorized representative, and chartered accountant, cost accountant, company secretary, a relative of the person or regular employee, temporary ID holder, and retired eligible officer of commercial tax department or board. So these categories of people can act as a authorized representative as per section 116 of CGST Act. So if you are getting covered under any of this category, so you can proceed and register yourself in GST Tribunal portal. So you can select subtype of representative. If you are a chartered accountant, you can select as a chartered accountant. If you are an advocate, you can select as an advocate based on your qualification. So after that, you need to give your name and enrollment number. Enrollment number is nothing but your membership number of ICA. If you are a advocate, AB, All India Bar Exam number you need to give, and you need to give the details of the address, mobile number and email ID. So once you give your mobile number and email ID, an OTP would be sent to your mobile number and email ID, and you need to fill those OTPs in this portal. So once you fill it, you will get an email to your registered email ID with the user ID password. So once you receive it, so it means you have completed your registration as an authorized representative in the GSTAT portal. So people may see that what is the use of registering. So what happens is, the taxpayer, when he is filing an appeal in this GSTAT portal, he has to select the authorized representative. So that authorized representative will come, your name will come in that list only when you get yourself registered in this portal. So before your client files the appeal, you should get registered yourself in this portal so that he can select your name at the time of filing the appeal. So once he selects your name, so all those details will get auto-populated in your registration as well. You can go back and check how many cases are filed in your name, what is the current status, whether any defect is issued. So all those things you can check in your login. So this is also important. So here want to act as authorized representative, please do register in this GSTAT portal. So after that, you need to, at the time of registration, you need to upload your COP as well, certificate of practice you need to upload, and you need to upload your photograph as well to complete your registration process. Okay, so this is about registration as an authorized representative. Okay, so we have seen registration for taxpayer and registration for authorized representative. So let's start with the filing procedure in GSTAT portal for appeals. So once you log in with your user ID and password, so you will get this disclaimer. You need to select this disclaimer and accept it. Otherwise, you will not be able to proceed for filing. So once you proceed, so you will get this dashboard. So wherein you can see the appellant corner on the left hand side of the portal tab. So where you can select the filing. In filing, there are two options. One is appeal filing and the second one is application filing. So if you want to file an appeal, you can select the option of appeal filing. Once you select the appeal filing, so it will take you to the next tab. So you need to give the order details. So if you see this tab, there are a lot of details which you need to fill. So the first thing is order details, and the second tab is basic details, case details you need to fill, then appellant details, respondent details, authorized representative details, demand details. You need to upload all the appeal documents and you need to fill out the checklist and file the appeal. But this tab is the starting point of filing your appeal. So at this tab, we have faced a lot of issues because if you see the appeal filing process, first appellate filing process, in 2020, there are a lot of orders were passed by appellate authority. Okay, in 22, 23, 24, a lot of orders were passed. In many cases, the department has passed original orders like DRC 07 manually. So against the DRC 07, we have filed manual appeals. And in some cases, department has passed the order online, like DRC 07 was uploaded online. So the taxpayer has also filed an appeal online. So subsequently, appellate authority has also passed the order online. Okay, so two types of orders are there, like manual orders and online orders. And in some cases, there is a hybrid also, where you have filed an appeal online, but the appellate authority has passed an order manually. So in those cases, there is a confusion whether we should select the option of ARN available or ARN not available. So in case if you have filed the appeal online, if you have filed the appeal online, first appeal online, you can select the option of ARN available. So once you select the option of ARN available, okay, you will get all the details with respect to the ARN. So people may get a doubt, what is ARN? What number you need to give? So ARN is nothing but the appeal reference number, whatever the appeal reference number quoted by the appellate authority while passing the order APL 04. So that appeal number, you need to give it as an ARN number. So you can see that serial number 5 of this APL 05, APL 04 contains appeal number. So this appeal number you need to give in the GSTAT portal. So once you give the details, okay, it will ask you to confirm this declaration. You can read this. We hereby declare that this is our first appeal in the impugned order before the tribunal, and we have previously neither filed any appeal or writ nor it is pending before any other legal forum. So unless you select this declaration, you cannot move forward and file an appeal in the GSTAT portal. Do you think this declaration is correct? Okay, I feel in some cases this declaration is not correct because in some cases we might have approached the High Court, okay, and filed a writ petition before the High Court, and the High Court might have directed you to file an appeal to the GST Tribunal. In those cases, giving this declaration amounts to a wrong declaration because it says that you have neither filed any appeal or writ, nor it is pending before any other. But against the appellate authority order, you already filed a writ petition before the High Court, and the High Court has directed you to file an appeal to tribunal. In those cases, this GST declaration may become wrong. But we don't have any option at this stage except to confirm this and proceed for filing the appeal. So we need to give a suitable representation to the GSTAT president so that they can carry out the respective changes in this declaration. So then the next step is once you give the ARN number, okay, you will get all these details auto-populated, like appellate or revisional authority order number. It gets auto-populated, and appellant name, and who is the appellate authority passed the order, and what is the demand order, and the original adjudication order details also gets auto-populated. You can see all these details, date of original adjudication order and order ID of original adjudication order, and what is the disputed period. All these details gets auto-populated. And you have an option of downloading the order also. You can download this order, you can cross-verify whether the order is proper or not. If the order is proper, you can proceed to confirm and you can go to next tab. So once you proceed, you will get the subsequent tab. So we have seen that there are two options. One is ARN is available and ARN is not available. If ARN is available, all those details get auto-populated. If ARN is not available, okay, all these details must be entered manually. What are those details? You need to give the details of appellate authority order number. You need to give it manually. And the appellant name you need to give it. And who is the authority who passed the appellate authority appeal order, and what is the ID of original adjudication order and date of adjudication order and disputed period. All these details you need to fill it manually. So this is very important because in many cases, the appellate authority has not uploaded the order online. So in those cases, in case if you want to file an appeal in the GSTAT portal, this tab is very important because it contains certain details which you need to fill very carefully. The first thing is appellate authority order. So appellate authority order may consist of 15 alphanumeric, or it may contain any what is that? The other hyphens and other things slash. So all those numbers also will contain in the appellate authority number. This portal is taking any sort of order and appeal number. But when it comes to adjudication order, you need to give 15 digits only. Okay, 15 digits alphanumeric number. Unless you keep it 15 digits alphanumeric number, the portal is not allowing you to move forward. So in many cases, what is happening is order in original. Okay, the Central Tax Authority, they simply say 28/2024-25 ADC. That's all. It consists only 8 to 9 digits. So in those cases, the portal is not allowing us to move forward. So please ensure that when you are giving this adjudication, the ID of adjudication order, you give it 15 digits. You need to add certain digits. Maybe you can add 3 to 4 digits of your GSTN number. So unless you give this, you cannot proceed for filing an appeal. So this is very important. Order and appeal, you can give whatever the actual number is there. But when it comes to adjudication order, you need to give only 15 digits alphanumeric number only. Okay. So then you need to upload the impugned order because order is not uploaded online. So you need to upload the order online. So this order needs to be certified order. So what is a certified order? Certified means self-certified order or certified by a authorized representative. There is bit confusion because the CGST rule says something and the GSTAT procedure rule says something. So that I'm going to cover in Q&A session. So then once you upload this order online, you can confirm and you can proceed for next step. So the next step is once you upload that order, it asks you to give a declaration. So by proceeding to file this order, I certify that the details and documents I am submitting are true and correct to the best of my knowledge, and I am aware that any misrepresentation or error may result in appeal consequence. So this declaration you need to sign off and you need to proceed. So now, this is the table which I have prepared because we have also faced a lot of issues as to how to file an appeal, which option to select, whether ARN is available or ARN is not available. So you can we can go through this table. So if your DRC07 status is online, that means that the order is uploaded online and the first appeal is also filed online and APL04 is also uploaded online. In those cases, you can select, ARN is available and all those details get auto-populated. You can proceed for filing an appeal. The second scenario is DRC07 is uploaded online. First appeal also you have filed it online, but APL04 was given manually. manually they have given, and at the same time they have uploaded manually. Okay, so manual means manual upload. That means the appellate authority is not linking this order to the appeal which was filed online. Okay, so we need to be very careful in this case. When they are uploading the order manually, you can still proceed and say that ARN is available and all the details are getting auto-populated. What is the ARN? ARN is the appeal reference number. Since you have filed the appeal online, you would be having that appeal reference number and you can select ARN is available. And the third scenario is DRC07 is passed manually and first appeal is filed manually and APL04 is uploaded by the appellate authority manually. So in this case, you need to select ARN is not available and you can proceed for filing the appeal. You need to upload the order and you can proceed for filing the appeal. Then DRC07 is manually done and first appeal you have filed it manually and APL04 is also passed manually. In this case, you need to select ARN not available and you need to upload the order and proceed for filing the appeal. So here in serial number 3 and 4, you need to be careful while filling the OIO number, order in original number. If you are not keeping it 15 digits, you will not be able to file the appeal online. So then last scenario, DRC07 is uploaded online and first appeal is also filed online. APL04 is passed manually. They are not uploaded in the portal, either online or manual mode, they have not uploaded it. So in that case, you can still say that ARN is available because you have filed your appeal online, first appeal online. But you need to give the OIO details. So these are the different kinds of scenarios which we faced in our office. I thought it would be useful for others to move forward and file an appeal in the GSTAT portal. So then the next tab is relating to basic details. Here you need to select the act under which you are filing an appeal. If your appellate order contains only demand for CGST and SGST, you need to select CGST and SGST, and the relevant section you need to select is 112. And you can add more act. In case if your order also contains the IGST liability, you need to add more act and you can select IGST and you need to give the respective section. Then case type you need to give what is the different case type. Then you need to mention case type means it is appeal only. Okay, so there are no other option. Then the next thing is, does the appeal or application involve any issue over which only the principal bench has jurisdiction? That means if one of the issue involves place of supply in your order, then you need to select it as S. Once you select S, your appeal will go to the principal bench. If you select it no, it will direct you to state bench. Then you need to select your jurisdiction of appellate or revisional authority, and zone of appellate authority you need to give. And the other thing is, has the original order of adjudication been passed by a common adjudicating authority? We know that CBIC has given a circular, okay, mentioning, okay, or notifying the common adjudicating authority in case of notices issued by DGGA. So in case if your order is passed by a common adjudicating authority, you may have to select this option. So then you can save and you can proceed for next page. So the next page is related to case details, wherein you need to give the brief of grounds of appeal and your prayer and brief issue under dispute. So here you need to give only the brief. You need not be elaborated, because this says that you can give a detailed and elaborated submissions can be uploaded. You can upload all those documents. So here only the gist of your submissions you need to give it. So the next thing is, you need to select the category of the case. So category of case is very important, because this may be taken as a criteria to decide whether your issue involves question of law or question of fact, and whether it should go to single member bench or division bench. They may consider this selection as the basis. So please be careful while selecting this category of case. You can see there are around 36 or 39 categories they have given. So out of those 36 or 37, you need to categorize your case under particular thing. So in case if your order contains more than one issue, you need to select more than one category. That option is available. So you need to select the category and you need to select the GST section and GST rule, and you need to give disputed amount for each and every issue. If your order contains 5 issues, you need to select 5 categories and you need to give the demand for each category. And you need to give reference of each section and each rule. If your issue relates to ITC denial, section 16 you need to select, and the corresponding GST rule you need to select. So when it comes to legality, if you see in some cases, we file appeal stating that the order or show cause notice does not contain the provision, does not contain the section, okay, under which the officer has proposed the demand. So that would be our ground in many cases. But this GST portal is asking us to give that section. So if we give this section, it may validate that show cause notice or order. That problem may arise. So these things we need to argue before the tribunal. So we can select this because we don't have any option except to select. Otherwise, we cannot move forward. So all these things we may have to clearly mention in our covering letter, and we need to bring it to the notice of the tribunal. So categories, you can see misclassification of any goods or services. In case if the department is disputing your HSN, you can select it, and wrong applicability of a notification issued under provisions of this act. So in case if the department says that you are liable to zone at 18% rate under a particular notification, but your view is different. In those cases, you need to select the notification. If you select this option, again, you need to give the details of corresponding notification. You need to give notification number and you need to give notification date while filing this appeal. And incorrect determination of time of supply, value of supply, ITC. So multiple categories have been given. So these are the categories. You can see registration related, seizure related, penalty related, and the last option is issues related to place of supply of goods or services. So you need to select. So based on your selection, so you are going to get the additional tab. As you see, in case if you select misclassification of goods, you need to fill HSN details and the amount involved. In case of notification, incorrect application of notification, you need to mention the notification number and the amount involved. For other matters, you need to select section and rule. So you have to keep it ready. If you are disputing a notification, that notification number should be ready. So the next page is case summary. So here issue, you need to select issues related to short or non-payment of tax, levy of penalty. Here they have categorized it into 4 categories only. If you see in previous tab, they have categorized into around 36 or 37 categories. But here in case summary, they have given only 4 things. So you need to select the respective thing. If your order contains only penalty, you need to select levy of penalty and levy of interest. If it contains all these things, short payment is there, the imposed penalty, the imposed interest or late fee, and classification dispute is also there. You need to select all 4 categories and you need to give the corresponding details. If you see this thing, this is a very new tab basically. If you see issued related to, as per the order of the adjudicating authority, and as per adjudicating authority, what is the issue involved in the order, and as determined by the appellate authority. What was determined by the appellate authority? The next thing is as per the stand of appellant before the tribunal. What is your stand before the tribunal? ITC related issue. ITC, whether your ITC is restricted under 17.5 or not. So that your stand is that ITC is not restricted under 17.5. So that brief note you need to give here. And at the same time, as declared or claimed by present appellant. Okay, so you need to what you are claiming before the tribunal, that also you need to fill. So this is a new tab. You need to be careful while filing. So the next about the appellant, the next step. So all these things can be taken from the GST portal, but all these details are not getting auto-populated, like constitution or identification number, like company incorporation number. And what is the constitution of the business? Is it company, partnership firm, or other thing? And statute under which incorporated, what is the address, what is the nature of business, all these things we need to fill it. The portal is not getting auto-populated. So GSTAT portal can take all these details from the GST portal because all these things are already available. So the next tab is fact case. So you need to give the acknowledgement. So like from starting to ending, like a sequence of events. So first thing is audit is done. So audit acknowledgement number you need to give. After that, show cause notice was issued. You need to mention show cause notice details. Then order is passed. You need to give order details. And appellate authority order response, you need to give those details, like the sequence of events you need to fill in the statement of facts. Then you can proceed to next tab. Next tab is appellant details. All these are auto-populated. So then next tab is add representative tab. Here you can mention the two things. Add respondent, basically, not representative. Add respondent. Who is respondent to your case is specifically defined in GSTAT procedure rules. Okay, the concerned commissioner, your jurisdictional commissioner is the respondent to your case. Many people may have a doubt that the person who passed the order, in this case, the appellate authority. Many people may think that appellate authority is the respondent in your case. That is not correct. Appellate authority will never be the respondent. Your jurisdictional commissioner only will be the respondent, not the person who passed the original order also. Only your jurisdictional commissioner will become the respondent, and there is a specific rule given, you need to refer them. So then designation you need to give office, contact number is only optional, contact number and email ID of the respondent. So once you add respondent, you can see, okay, down you will get all those details. So then once this respondent is added, so the next one is add representative. You can appellant details will come automatically. Then search representative. So as I told, in case if your taxpayer, if your client wants to add your name as an authorized representative, you should get yourself registered in this portal. Then only he will be able to select your name in this portal. Okay. So this portal gives drop down list. From that he can select your name as the authorized representative. So you can add more than one representative also. More than one representative is allowed. So the next thing is disputed demand details, pre-deposit details basically. If ARN is available, all these details are getting auto-populated. If ARN is not available, all these details are not getting auto-populated. You need to key in all the details. What is the demand amount? How much you are admitting? How much you are disputing? All these details you need to fill. So based on that, this tab, okay, this GSTAT portal is calculating the pre-deposit amount. So then pre-deposit also, there are many issues, okay, which we need to discuss. So some of the issues we are going to cover in our this Q&A portion, okay, because as I told, if you have filed appeal manually, you might have paid your pre-deposit through DRC 03. So now how to adjust that pre-deposit in this portal? There is no column for adjustment. We cannot give the DRC 03 details and appropriate. We don't have that option. Okay, so certain cases, High Court might have given a pre-deposit waiver. You might have approached the High Court might have given the pre-deposit waiver. In those cases, how to move ahead. So those questions are there. So here what is happening is, if you have paid it through DRC 03 and you do not have an option of appropriation, what you can do is, there is one tab, so which gives just an, I think I missed it. So after this, there is one tab, okay, which says that whether you have any exemption from paying of pre-deposit. In case if you select that option, it says how much percentage of pre-deposit is exempted by the High Court. Is it 50% or 100% of the pre-deposit is waived? In DRC 03 payment cases, you can select it as 100%. Okay, and you can proceed for filing. But only thing which you need to do is, in covering letter, you make it very clear that this is the facts of the case. This is how the initial pre-deposit is paid. This is how the portal is not allowing us to appropriate the DRC 03 payment towards pre-deposit. All these things you need to mention it in the covering letter. So we all know that the GSTAT president has also given some relaxation with respect to procedural aspects. So I know this pre-deposit is a substantial condition for filing an appeal. Okay, and they have given relaxation for procedural things. But in case of difficulties, we can always clearly mention it in our covering letter and proceed for filing the appeal. So then next thing is court fee. Okay, we need to pay this court fee, like appeal filing fees. The law says that for every 1 lakh rupees, you need to pay 1000 rupees, and subject to maximum of 25,000 rupees. So in this case, it is maximum, it is crossing almost 25 lakhs. Okay, we need to pay 25,000. So there is a confusion also whether 25,000 is for CGST, 25,000 is for SGST or not. And at the same time, how to calculate that 1 lakh rupees? Is it only tax amount? Is it inclusive of tax plus interest, or is it inclusive of tax plus interest plus penalty plus fine and fine and late fee? So there, except interest, all other things needs to be considered for calculating this 1 lakh rupees for payment of appeal filing fee. Portal, what it says, in case when we are trying to file an appeal, in some cases the portal is calculating, considering that interest amount also for the purpose of this late fee. So law says something, but the portal says something. But we don't have option except to proceed and pay this amount and file an appeal. So the next document upload. So you need to upload all your documents like statement of facts, grounds of appeal, prayer, authorization, and everything you need to upload in this tab. So here you need to select submit with external DSC utility. You need to select only this option. If you are selecting the remaining two options, submit with NIC DSC utility or submit with Aadhaar based utility, the portal is not allowing us. So you need to select only the first utility, submit with external DSC utility. And printing instructions also, many people may be having doubt. So you need to print it on A4 papers, single-sided, and all your appeal document should be signed by the appellant. And regarding the signing also, there is some conflicts between CGST rules and GSTAT rules. Okay, CGST rule says something and GSTAT procedure rule says a different thing. And you need to upload the certified copy of the order. So for uploading the certified copy also, there are different things are there in CGST rules and procedure rules, but we recommend to certify by the authorized representative and at the same time get it certified by the appellant also, whoever the taxpayer is there. So both the people can certify the order copy and that can be uploaded. So to avoid disputes with the registry. So then at the end, you need to select all these checklist. Okay, around 29 points are there. All 29 points you need to check whether it is yes or no. And in case if you have any comments, you can mention the comments. So then you will get a final preview of all the details. You can verify it and you can proceed for filing the appeal. Once you file an appeal, immediately you will get this Part A of APL 02. So this is the provisional acknowledgement. So once you file the appeal online, then the GSTAT registry will verify your appeal documents. In case if they have any, in case if they notice any defects, they will issue a deficiency memo. So you need to rectify all those defects within 7 days. In case if you are not able to do within 7 days, you need to request for an extension and the tribunal and the registry can extend the time limit up to 30 days. Okay. So then they will, once you remove the defects, they will give the final acknowledgement. Unless you get the final acknowledgement, the appeal is deemed to be not filed. Only when you get the final acknowledgement, then only appeal is considered as filed. So please don't simply file appeal online and ignore it. You try to get the APL 02 Part B, that is the final acknowledgement. So this is all about the filing process in the GSTAT portal. So in case if any doubts are there with respect to this filing, so how to file, which option to select, all those things, you can discuss or you can raise your queries in Q&A session. Okay, with this I am ending my presentation. Ravi sir, about.
Yes, thanks, Lakshman. So maybe we can now take up some questions. Complex legal issues, I must say. So Venkatesh, we can have some questions, discussion on certain questions, legal questions.
Yeah.
And then of course, and any people have any questions, you can just put it in the chat box. We will take it in the end. We plan to give good 25-30 minutes for your questions as well.
So, yes, thank you, Ravi sir. Firstly, am I audible?
Yes,
Yes,
you
sir,
are
you are
audible.
Yeah. So, Lakshman, firstly, your session was very insightful. Actually, it gave the idea that drafting alone, that appeal draft is not enough. There are so many pointers at the portal where one may go wrong. Selection of wrong respondent, selection of pre-deposit in an incorrect manner, filing the appeal before principal bench instead of state benches. So, even if you draft properly, this kind of issues may take your case at a backward seat, and you may end up having these issues with the registry. So I would say it was a very insightful session. With this, I would like to
Venkatesh, we lost you.
Yeah, I
So,
think.
some...
Am I audible, Lakshman? I think maybe they must
Yes,
be
you are
some
audible, sir.
network
I think, yes, some...
problem has it at his end.
So actually, there is a network error.
Yeah, Chira, you can just coordinate on that part.
Yes, sir. Sir, meanwhile,
Yes.
can we take up some questions in the chat box, sir?
Yeah.
Okay, Venkatesh.
my internet connection just got restored, so should we start?
Yes,
Yes,
Venkatesh.
Venkatesh.
Yeah, so sorry for the interruption. So I would like to start the question and answer session. So we have drafted these questions in a way that it will answer most of the legal practical issues which many industry people are facing. So Ravi sir, my first question would be directed towards you. Like you must be knowing that many times taxpayer realizes that a certain evidences or certain facts which are relevant for any appeal filing is missed to be presented before the adjudicating authority and also the first appellate authority. Maybe a very important agreement or maybe very important declaration which is just realized before the tribunal. So now here the specific question is, can he present that particular factual evidence before the tribunal, and whether tribunal can accept that particular evidence?
Okay. So I think Venkatesh, this question is actually having two questions internally. One is on the additional facts and other is on the additional evidences. Actually, these are two different aspects of the question. So firstly, we need to understand that tribunal is the last fact-finding authority. And we cannot, at the High Court stage, the discussion can only be on the question of law, rather substantial question of law, and not on the factual aspect. The facts must be clear and settled when we go to the High Court. And hence, bringing out all facts properly before the tribunal is very important and imminent. However, it's not that whatever facts that you bring out, tribunal will immediately accept those facts as it is, because the fact finding has to start from the show cause notice level, from the investigation level, from the audit level. If you suddenly bring out altogether a new fact before the tribunal which changes the entire course of the case, that would not be accepted by the tribunal. Let me make it very clear. It cannot totally make a case into a different case altogether. Correct? And hence it becomes very important that when we are doing this departmental audit investigation, a very deep dive thing is already done into the factual aspects. Having said that, if you feel that certain aspects of the facts are not considered properly, we must rather definitely bring out before the tribunal. Tribunal, based on looking into the facts, can allow the facts to be considered, and if the facts require some examination, some detailed this thing, it may actually remand back the matter also, considering the new fact that has come into the stage of tribunal. Correct. So that is as far as the facts is concerned. Same goes also with the department. Department suddenly, let us say the case is on mismatch between 2A and 3B. Department suddenly cannot say, okay, there is also 16 for non-compliance, that also be noted. That is very important. There is a Supreme Court judgment of Jaswal Nico, very important, that an appellant in his appeal cannot be worse off than the matter it was. So the ultimate fact finding, even by the department, has to be confined within the framework of show cause notice. It cannot go beyond the wires or purview of the show cause notice. That is very, very important aspect. So far as additional evidence is concerned, if tribunal at their will, at their wish to give end to the justice, to make sure that the proper judgment is given, they can certainly ask for the additional evidence. But as far as assessee is concerned, generally, if you bring out a new evidence altogether before tribunal, they may not accept it. Let me tell you, they may actually not accept. They say why this was not taken up earlier, because the case is totally built up without that evidence. And now suddenly you are bringing new evidence. There is highly likely chance that the entire foundation of the case may change because of this evidence which you are now bringing. Correct? However, it is upon the discretion of the tribunal. They may examine that evidence and immediately render the order, or they may remand the order back to the original adjudicating authority for examination and verification of the evidence and accordingly passing of the order. So this is a big takeaway out of this, I must say, is that a thorough appreciation of the facts is very important right at the start of the case.
Understood, sir. So, as you mentioned the takeaway, I would like to say that here important aspect is all the grounds, all the evidences have to be submitted at the time of adjudication level itself, so that you don't get tangled into the factual grounds after, once you enter into tribunal. Sir, one key aspect I wanted to ask here, say some
Lakshman,
yeah,
Lakshman, wherever you feel you want to add something, just unmute yourself and add, Lakshman. Yes.
Yes, definitely. Sir.
Yes. So, sir, one more important follow-up doubt here, sir. If one additional ground is there, a circular is issued, sir, which I did not add into my appeal draft, but that circular is very much important for my particular case. Now, tribunal can it take cognizance of that circular and add that, give the benefit of that circular on suo motu basis, or since I did not add that circular in my submission, the tribunal will leave it.
So, tribunal is not confined to the what you have given in the grounds. So if you have missed something, ultimately there cannot be any estoppel against the law. We need to understand that. So if you have missed, still tribunal your case, they can definitely rely on and proceed with the order.
Understood, sir. Yes. So thank you, sir. Lakshman, I have another question for you. Many times we have seen in center excise and service tax, High Courts or Supreme Court have declared any statute as ultra vires. Okay.
Yes.
So if I give one example, a hypothetical example in GST, if tomorrow High Court says that Section 16(2)(c) is ultra vires to GST law,
Yes.
or Rule 36(4) is ultra vires to Section 16.
Yes.
So can we experience similar kind of judgment, similar kinds of wording before GSTAT also, or how will it go, Lakshman?
So a very good question, Venkatesh. So many people may be having that this thought process actually. So
Correct.
whether the tribunal can say any statute as a ultra vires, whether any particular section as ultra vires the Constitution. So tribunal, if you see, it is a creature of this statute that is created. It was created based on Section 109 and 110 of the CGST Act. So that being a creature of the particular statute, it cannot strike down the provisions of the CGST Act or SGST Act. Okay, tribunal do not have that power, and this was largely discussed previously also in Supreme Court decision in case of L. Chandra Kumar. So it was clearly held that they cannot hold any statutory provision as ultra vires. Then the second issue is, can the tribunal say that a particular rule is ultra vires the CGST Act? Can they say notification or circular as ultra vires the CGST Act? So that question may arise. So there, the tribunal is having that power. They can examine the subordinate legislation and they can say that it is going beyond the statute, and they can declare it as ultra vires. Whether it is ruled, whether it is a notification or circular, the tribunal is having the jurisdiction. And I have seen a lot of decisions in pre-GST regime also, and even I argued myself before the tribunal challenging certain circulars, stating those circulars are going beyond the law, going beyond the exemption notification. You can see that certain circulars, they examine the exemption notification and they expand the scope of the exemption notification, or they restrict the scope of the exemption notification. In those cases, we need to bring this to the notice of the tribunal, and tribunal will completely appreciate, and they have the power to set aside the circular, and they can give you the relief. Statute, they cannot do it. Rules, notifications, or circular, they have the power.
Understood, Lakshman. So I would put it this way, that what I am asking or pleading before the tribunal becomes very important. If I am pleading to declare any specific circular or rule as ultra vires, it may so happen. But if I request to declare any act or provision of the act as ultra vires, I think it may backfire before the tribunal. So
Yes,
Lakshman, I
and
have
one more thing, I just want to add one more thing, Venkatesh. People may have a doubt. In your case, High Court has already, in some other case, has struck down certain provisions as ultra vires. So whether I can rely that decision in my appeal and ask the tribunal to consider? Yes, it can be. We can ask that because it is a High Court decision. It is binding on the tribunal, and they can consider and they can give the relief. They themselves cannot examine, but in case if it is already examined by High Court or Supreme Court, they can take cognizance of it and they can follow it.
Understood. So, with the support of High Court judgment, we can ask similar things should be applied in our case also, is what we
Yes.
can do basically.
Yes.
Understood, Lakshman. Lakshman, I have another question since you have taken up this portal related aspect. So, Lakshman, I want to understand how this OIO and order in original and order in appeal will play out. So, if I have multiple order in originals when Department of Audit had concluded, but
Yes.
later on the appellate authority confined all the order in originals into single order in appeal. So, should I be filing a single appeal against the order in appeal? Or will it be qua order in original? So how many appeals would be filed in this scenario, Lakshman?
Yes, Venkatesh. If you read it plainly, section 112 says that against the order of the appellate authority, you need to file an appeal to the tribunal. You have an option of filing an appeal to tribunal. In your case, because only one one order in appeal is there, people may think that it is sufficient to file only one appeal. But GSTAT procedure rule says something else. Okay, it says that you need to file as many appeals as many of order in originals. If there are 4 order in originals and you have filed 4 appeals to the first appellate authority, okay, though the first appellate authority passed only single order, you need to file 4 different appeals to the GST tribunal. So this is as per the GSTAT procedure rules. And I can also see one question in the chat box where one participant has asked this question as well. In case of there are 2 refund orders, okay, which was filed online, but the order in appeal is only one single order, and that too they have served it manually. They have not uploaded it online. So how to file an appeal? So you can select that ARN is not available, and you can give the order in appeal reference and 2 order in originals different. Okay, separately. That means you need to file 2 different appeals.
Understood, Lakshman. Lakshman, I have one related question since we are talking about filing of the appeals. Lakshman, many a times, apart from scrutiny or departmental audit, there are other investigations also, like DGJ investigation or state tax investigations. So in this scenario, it may so happen that I am registered in Maharashtra. DGI Chennai has come into my premises and they have done investigation. Now this investigation is getting covered up all my other locations as well, my Maharashtra location, my Hyderabad location, my Delhi location. So in this scenario, who is going to issue the show cause notice? Where am I supposed to file the reply and where am I supposed to file the GSTAT appeal, Lakshman? Is another question I wanted to ask.
Yes, Venkatesh. So in this case, the CBIC has specified who are the common adjudicating authorities. In these type of cases, they have notified certain authorities as the common adjudicating authority. Okay, that authority. So in your example, so they came from Kerala. DGI Kerala has come to Mumbai and they have investigated and they have issued a show cause notice. So as per CBIC, assume the Mumbai 1 Commissionerate is appointed as the common adjudicating authority. He has to pass the order, adjudication order. Okay, against that adjudication order, you need to see the territorial jurisdiction in which you need to file the appeal. That territorial jurisdiction was specified in CBIC notification 2 of 2017. They have given the appellate jurisdiction. Okay, you need to file appeal, first appeal to the corresponding jurisdiction. Appeals 1 Commissionerate. Okay, you need to file appeal to Mumbai 1 Appeals Commissionerate. Okay, so against that, okay, after filing an appeal, appellate authority, once you pass an order, then again you need to check the territorial jurisdiction for filing an appeal. Because the appellate authority is sitting in Mumbai, his territorial jurisdiction, okay, will confine to Mumbai GST Tribunal. You need to file it in Mumbai GST State Bench. If the issue involves place of supply, again, it will go to Principal Bench.
Principal.
Okay,
Understood.
and this can also be, you can also refer this circular 250, wherein they have clearly given, okay, this sort of understanding. In case of common adjudicating authorities, you need to file appeal to the corresponding, okay, state bench. And the one more issue, Venkatesh, I would like to highlight. People may be having doubts relating to this UA bill appeals also. Okay, you may be doing business in Maharashtra. Your
Correct.
vehicle might got caught in the state of Tamil Nadu, and Tamil Nadu officer has passed an order. So against that order, you might have filed an appeal in the state of Tamil Nadu only. In that case, if the appellate authority also confirms the demand, then you need to file appeal in that respective state only, in the state of Tamil Nadu. And one more thing, okay, is so how to file appeal, okay, in GST portal in those situations. Okay, in that state, you assume you do not have any GST registration. You have only registration in the state of Maharashtra.
Correct.
Okay, if you go to register as a taxpayer, I explained that you need to give the GSTN number and all other details are getting auto-populated. In this case, you only have the temporary ID. You do not have any GSTN number. Okay, in those cases, if you give temporary ID, the portal is not allowing us to register ourselves. So that facility is not available in the GST portal as on date, GSTAT portal as on date. We cannot file appeal for those appeals. We need to represent it to the GSTAT president and we need to get it added. And you can see in first tab, people may have doubt. There are 4 categories: taxpayer, okay, and authorized representative, and the third thing is department officer, fourth thing is any other. If you select any other also, the portal is not allowing us to proceed. Okay, so in that case, we need to wait and see how the portal is going to allow us to file an appeal.
Understood. So mostly all the appeals would be filed online. So online appeal can be done, but hearing, I think it would be very important to see where my hearing would lie. So in that scenario, the territorial jurisdiction or the jurisdiction where the vehicle is detained plays paramount role, in my opinion, Lakshman. So
Yes, exactly.
Ravi sir, for the next question, I would like to get you on board. Sir, actually under Center Excise and Service Tax, GSTAT was there, and now under GST Appellate Tribunal are there. But however, sir, if you notice, there are certain overlapping issues. Say, for example, if I import something, basic custom duty is getting involved, along as well as IGST also gets involved. IGST Act says that for import-related purpose, IGST Act would be taken care by Customs Authority only. So, sir, in these cases, if some overlapping issues are there, who is going to take care, sir? Whether it would be GSTAT or whether it would be GSTAT, sir?
Yeah, it's a good question. So there are a couple of issues here. One is relating to the transitional matters, especially in the transitional cases where there are certain aspects where the refund is filed for the erstwhile taxes, and section 142 subsection 3 and subsection 6 categorically specifies that it has to be disposed in accordance with the provisions of the existing law, which is the old laws. In those cases, the show cause notice issued and the orders has to be appealed before the GSTAT. However, let us say instead of claiming refund of the old taxes, you chose to transition those matters into GST, and then based on the assessment in the GST department has questioned those particular transitional credits. In those cases, the matter is pertaining to GST law, and the appropriate authority would be GSTAT. Just to give one example, in one case of our client, they transitioned the credits of education cess and secondary higher education cess. And it later, there was a retrospective amendment stating that, the transition is, not allowed. So later, whatever they transitioned, they reversed that, and then they filed an application for refund under the Central Excise and Service Tax law. So now there are 3 appeals going on for the same case. One under the Central Excise for the, secondary education cess, second under the service tax on the Krishi Kalyan, and the third under the GST, which they have reversed. The tax portion they have reversed, but department has issued a demand on interest and penalties on that particular aspect. So now this interest and penalties is pending before GST Appellate Tribunal, and the excise and service tax is pending before GSTAT. And many times, especially in Maharashtra, there were a lot of investigation at that time in 2018, 2019, where they went into the underlying credit, which is transition. And the underlying credit was questioned. And the orders or the notices were issued into the underlying MVAT Act. So in those cases also, it will be under the earlier laws, not the GST law. The next very important is on the import of goods. Import of goods, while there is also a levy of IGST on import of goods, but we need to understand that so far as import of goods is concerned, while there is a levy of IGST, but the entire assessment machinery or the entire adjudication machinery is under the customs law. So any classification valuation issue concerning import of goods, even though it is IGST, the IGST demand, the challenge to that also would go eventually under GSTAT, not under GST Appellate Tribunal. So that is very, very important aspect. So these are, I would say, few aspects of differentiation between GSTAT and GSTAT.
Understood. So I would say if I file the appeal under wrong forum before the wrong forum, then it would waste the time of registry as well as waste the time of taxpayer to a great extent, because this GSTAT and GSTAT would take up almost 2 to 3 years to get listed. And if that time goes before those authorities, it will be in vain. And then we will have to withdraw that appeal, take that appeal to the another forum, and then refile it. So I think it would be very much distressful for a taxpayer. So, sir, we are talking about jurisdiction, we talked about territorial jurisdiction, we talked about this transitional issues also. So, I want to continue on that aspect. And, sir, in your session also, you talked about the place of supply issue, like principal bench is entitled to take up the matters in relation to place of supply. Sir, in place of supply, where should I draw the line? Like, if I say cross charge versus IRC is also place of supply matter, I would say, sir, incorrect credit taken under incorrect head is also place of supply matter. I have taken IGST instead of CGST and AGST. So where one should draw the line for place of supply related issues, sir?
So there are two connected issues here, Venkatesh. One is if, let us say, there is an order and order having multiple issues. If even a single issue out of the multiple issues is concerning place of supply matter, in that case, the entire, adjudication or the appellate mechanism goes before the principal bench and not before the, the state bench. It goes before the principal bench. Now, the question that comes is, what is the issue relating to place of supply mean? The term place of supply is defined under section 2, subsection 86 of the CGST Act, which says, matters concerning chapter 5 of the IGST Act. Basically, from section 10 to section 15 of the IGST Act. So if a tax is, to be paid to a particular state, but paid to some other state, or whether it is taxable in India or non-taxable in India, those transactions would be a fit case of place of supply matters, which would go to the principal bench. Now, there are a lot of questions, notices that are issued in the context of whether it is a zero-rated supply or not, or whether it is a export or not. So export zero-rated supplies are actually not place of supply issues, are the very taxability issues, which is under section 16, and it cannot be contemplated as a place of supply issue. There are many notices on where the department has told instead of CGST, SGST, you have paid IGST or vice versa. Those are also not place of supply issues. They are only an issue on the nature of tax, not the place of supply. Similar issues in the input tax credit side. You have taken the credit of CGST, SGST instead of IGST. Similar thing would be there. So, and then there are issues relating to the cross charge, which you have given as an example. So even those would not get covered as a place of supply issues. Having said that, there would be a spillover, there would be a crossover as well, in the whole thing. And in the facts of each case, one has to assess whether this issue is about the tax to be coming to one treasury instead of other treasury or not. I think that is the broad intent or object what I'm able to understand, because I cannot go to the Maharashtra bench and say, whether it is taxable into Maharashtra or to Karnataka. Obviously, they would say Maharashtra. Correct. No? So those things they want to bring it before the principal bench. So this has to be looked at very objectively, purposefully, and then it has to be decided, because we have to select at the time of filing appeal whether it has to go to principal bench or other. So that's important. And there can be many examples.
Understood. So selection of place of supply becomes important because it will decide whether I will be appearing before principal bench or state bench. Otherwise, it will also a waste of time for the taxpayer as well as for the bench. Now, sir, coming to a small doubt in this question, say my department audit was conducted. In department audit, 10 parameters were identified. Out of that 10 parameters, one parameter was in relation to place of supply. Rest all 9 parameters.
I've already covered this, Venkatesh.
Okay, so it will also be before.
So, principal bench only. Even though, let us say the demand is 1 crore and the place of supply related issue is only 1 lakh. Still, you cannot split it into two different appeals. The appeal is qua the order in original, which Lakshman has told. It is qua the order in original. It is not qua the issue in the order in original. So you need to file an appeal before principal bench because there is one matter in this relating to place of supply.
Understood, sir. Understood. So I think it's enough of place of supply or jurisdiction related issues. Now I wish to take some other topic. We will talk about some now pre-deposit, sir. So in pre-deposit, we have seen at least in earlier phase of GST, there used to be some investigation or there used to be any departmental audit where department used to ask for payment of any amounts under protest. So say a taxpayer has made a payment under protest for say 5 crores. Now that demand is now converted into order. Now that order is pending before tribunal. So do I have to again make another pre-deposit, sir, or can I use that earlier paid amount as a pre-deposit before the tribunal?
No, you can definitely make the earlier paid amount only in the pre-deposit. Many times in the notice and the order itself, they clearly appropriate that this is appropriated as paid. In fact, there was a circular 224, which laid out a detailed procedure on this particular aspect. And eventually you need to link a DRC to a particular order, by way of DRC 03A, that's called mapping. So that mapping is to be done on the system to make sure that, whatever you paid voluntarily during investigation is mapped as pre-deposit. Especially what we are seeing in the state GST related orders, what they do is whatever is paid, they did not mention, they don't appropriate in the orders. And then there is about, let's say the demand is 15 crores, 5 crore you already paid. And then they talk only about the 10 crores. And then they ask pre-deposit on that 10 crores. So you need to go and do that mapping of that 5 crores, to the order by way of DRC 03A, which would then be accepted as a pre-deposit. So in our view, no question of we paying additional pre-deposit.
So, sir, I would take that insight and I would like to match it with Lakshman. So, Lakshman, in your session, you were deliberating that whenever you are filing the appeal, your covering letter should be very strong to accommodate all these issues. So, whenever we are, asking us them to appropriate the amount paid under investigation as a pre-deposit, I think we should make a point in our covering letter as well. And also in our APL 05 format or APL 01 format, whatever appeal we are filing, in that format also we should be writing that appeal also we should be writing this particular amount was paid under protest and should be used as pre-deposit only. Correct.
Yes.
So Lakshman, I have a follow-up question with relation to what I discussed with Ravi sir in relation to pre-deposit. After 1st October 2025, the government has introduced a mandate for pre-deposit even in cases of penalty. Now, I would like to link my earlier question. Say I have paid my entire taxes under protest. Full payment of tax is done. Okay. Now, section 107 as well as section 112 is asking to make pre-deposit even in cases where only penalty orders are there.
Yes.
Okay, which is 10% of the disputed amount. So, if I have made entire payment of taxes under protest, so do I again need to make the payment of pre-deposit for penalties while filing the appeal, or am I relieved from that particular pre-deposit, Lakshman?
Yes, Venkatesh. So here this factual aspects plays a crucial role, Venkatesh. So whether you are disputing that amount which was already paid under protest, if you are saying it is under protest, tax amount is paid under protest, then your order also involves the demand towards tax, interest and penalty. So three things are there. So in that case, since we have already paid the entire amount under protest, that can be appropriate towards the pre-deposit payment. So there is no requirement of further pre-deposit on the penalty amount because your order contains the demand amount as well. So take another scenario wherein the tax has been disputed. You have already paid the entire amount, you have admitted, and you have paid along with the interest. And now your order contains only the dispute relating to penalty. So in those cases, you are required to pay because your order contains only the dispute relating to penalty. So on that penalty amount from 1st October 2025, the provision says that you need to pay 10% deposit. So now the follow-up question what I can see is, so you have filed first appeal prior to 1st October 2025. Okay. But after at that time, there is no requirement for payment of pre-deposit. So you might not have paid that initial 10%. So now after 1st October 2025, you are going to file an appeal to the tribunal and there is a requirement of 10% pre-deposit. Now, do they have to pay 10% deposit or cumulative 20%? So that confusion is there. If you see the relevant section, section 112, okay, so there also a bit confusion is there. It is not very clear. Okay, it says that with respect to tax amount, it has stated that in addition to 10%, in addition to whatever pre-deposit paid at the time of filing first appeal, it used the word paid. Okay, but when it comes to penalty, it stated that 10% in addition to amount payable at the time of filing the first appeal. So when it comes to tax, provision is very clear. In case if you have paid it, in addition to the 10%, you need to pay additional 10%. But when it comes to penalty, it says payable. As on date, if I see for first appeal also I need to pay 10% and second appeal also I need to pay 10%. Okay, so then if we take that view, then 20% we need to deposit. But the provision is not clear. What we can say is you pay only 10% deposit because prior to at the time of filing first appeal, there is no legal requirement. Now you pay only 10% deposit and file an appeal, okay, and test before the tribunal, okay, how they are going to act. Okay, we may have to explore this area.
Understood, Lakshman. So I would say a clarification would be required from departmental side in this particular case. Like
Yes.
in earlier case, if I did not make any pre-deposit payment since there was no legal requirement, now
Yes.
will I have to make 10% or 20% of the pre-deposit amount?
Yes,
So
and this issue may come up for department appeals also, Venkatesh, where the original order was in our favor, order in original. Okay, subsequently, department has filed an appeal to the first appellate authority, and the appellate authority has accepted the department appeal. So now you need to file an appeal to the GST tribunal.
correct.
Since you have not filed appeal to tribunal, you have not paid that initial 10%. But now when you want to file an appeal to tribunal, you need to pay 10% deposit. So this issue will come in case of department appeals also.
Understood. So in case of departmental appeal also, this kind of pre-deposit has to be seen whether it is 20% or 20% at
Yes.
that time.
Yes.
Understood, Lakshman. Lakshman, I have another question in relation to pre-deposit. You know, it's a little factual question. Say I
Yes.
have an order of say 20 crores. For that
Yes.
20 crores, I had made payment of say under protest 8 crores.
Hmm.
Okay. Now the department has dropped 6 crores of the amount. Okay. Now the department has dropped 6 crore. So
Yes.
20 crore was the total. 8 crore
Yes.
I had paid. 6 crore
Yes.
department has dropped it.
Drop.
This is the end of first appeal. Now
Yes.
when I am going to file the second appeal, what should be the ideal pre-deposit amount? And is there any refund scenario also since department had already dropped that 6 crore? Will it be out of the 8 crore which I had already paid, or will I have to equate both the amounts and pay net amount as pre-deposit, Lakshman? What would be the right scenario in this particular case, Lakshman?
Yes, Venkatesh. So in this case, what we need to do is, so 8 crores, whatever you have already paid. Okay, so that is under protest only, right? So you have not admitted any liability. Okay, so based on merits, they have dropped the demand of 6 crores. Okay, so initially at the time of filing an appeal, so 20 crores is the demand amount. On that, you need to pay 10% deposit, 2 crores you have to pay. Okay, since you have already paid 8 crores, the 2 crores gets adjusted. So you have a balance of 6 crores. Now, at the time of filing appeal to tribunal, you have only 14 crores demand. On that 14 crores, cumulatively, you should pay 20%. Okay, so 1.4 crore, 1.4 crore plus 1.4 crore, 2.8 crores is the amount which you need to pay. But you have already paid 8 crores. Okay, so what they can do is we can adjust that amount for this pre-deposit payment, and there is no requirement of paying it again. Okay, so from whatever you have paid under protest, with that you can adjust it. Okay, so there is no further requirement. And one more example, Venkatesh. In your case, you told that it was paid under protest. Okay,
Right.
Assume that you have not paid that 8 crores rupees. You have paid only the pre-deposit. 20 crores is the demand. You paid 2 crores. Okay, 2 crores as the deposit. So then first appellate authority has dropped 6 crores demand and 14 crores is only there. Okay, under 14 crores you need to pay 2.8 crores. Okay, so then now 2 crores was already paid. Now you need to pay 2.8 crores. Okay, you are required to pay only the balance 80 lakhs. Okay, you need not pay 1.4 crores again. Okay, as per the appellate authority order, and go for the refund of the differential amount.
Understood.
That requirement is not there, and this is also fitting into the filing portal. Even if you see the GSTAT portal, if you have paid the pre-deposit at the time of filing first appeal, that entire amount is getting adjusted and it is only asking you to pay the differential amount.
Understood.
Okay. So this issue, whatever you have asked, in certain states, some officers have raised. They have asked us to pay that additional deposit and asked us to file refund application for the differential amount, whatever demand is dropped. Okay, in particularly in the state of Rajasthan, this is there. Okay, wherein we have paid that additional amount and we have gone for the refund of the differential excess pre-deposit, whatever we have paid. But while filing an appeal to tribunal, you need not pay that extra amount. Okay, strictly speaking, there is no requirement of additional payment. You can adjust that pre-deposit paid at first appeal stage.
Understood. Understood. So what you have said is also in line with the portal. So
Yes.
I don't think so that department is going to argue that, because the amount which you have paid in the first appeal is already getting adjusted while filing the appeal before
Yes.
tribunal. So Lakshman, we have been discussing about 10% of the pre-deposit, 20% of the pre-deposit. I would like to ask altogether another question to Ravi sir. Sir, if a demand is there which is very frivolous, and if confirmed, it will put the assessee out of business. The amount is very huge amount, and assessee is not at all in a position to pay pre-deposit also, sir. So in this case, legally, can he get any pre-deposit waiver for filing the appeal before first appeal or even before tribunal, sir? Is there any legal relief available for the assessee?
No, a straight no I can say, but let me explain a bit as well. So when we look at the provision in the GST law, it very clearly say no appeal can be filed. No appeal can be filed, unless the amount is paid, deposited, as a percentage of the tax. In fact, in the earlier law, the language was no appeal can be entertained. There is a difference between the word entertained and word filed. It means at least you could file. Whether to entertain or not is a different matter. But here, it cannot be filed in the first place. And hence, no matter how big the amount is, there is a provision which talks about 10% plus 10% of pre-deposit that has to be paid for us for the matter to be heard on merits. Having said that, this matter already came before, on the constitutionality of this provision itself, the Satyanand Jha Supreme Court decision, wherein they instead they mention, that rather you look at it in the other way around, 90% is already, waived. There is no requirement and you are able to, go for this thing. Earlier, there used to be a special stay, matter, stay recovery and all those things, which is not there. And hence, what department is asking is only 10%. You need to, agree to that and, proceed accordingly. However, what we can definitely look at is what was 10% is now actually 20%. So whether the Satyanand Jha case which was actually a very strongly relied on the fact that it's only 10%, can be relooked, is very important aspect. Second, very important aspect that we need to understand in GST, more specifically, the kind of demands that are there, 10 crore, 15 crore, 20 crores on some mismatch where there is no case at all, are very common. So, those things are also there. There are very rare cases where, I think Bharat Ingots, GD Goenka, some cases where, Supreme Court has actually waived pre-deposit on let us say financial crunch, or I must say already the matter has attained finality before Supreme Court, or there is a batch of matter pending before the Supreme Court. They have allowed waiver of pre-deposit because the power of High Court under Article 226 is very wide. Where Lakshman has referred to L. Chandra, which is a important judgment. There is another Dwarkanath, Supreme Court judgment in the income tax matter. Having said that, I think the probability of success is very low in this case. So better to pay pre-deposit and not contest on that matter.
Understood. Understood, sir. So, sir, considering the time, what I would do, I would like to pose a joint question before both of you. And this question plays a very significant role because the president of GSTAT himself, while inaugurating, has stated that more than 90% of the appeals will be before single member bench. So, sir, I want to discuss with both of you this particular question. As we all know, for single member bench, the appeal amount, order amount has to be below 50 lakhs. Now, one or two, sir, fire-up questions which I am going to throw at both of you is that how to count that 50 lakh rupees. Okay, first thing. Second thing, single member versus double member bench, divisional member bench. Do you think any differences in the verdict would be there? So these two questions are I wanted to ask before both of you. So I would like to have your views. First, going with Ravi sir.
So firstly, this 50 lakhs has to be looked at tax plus penalties and fines all cumulatively. And there is nothing like 50 lakhs for CGST, 50 lakhs for SGST, wholly inclusive 50 lakhs. So if the amount is below 50 lakhs, it can be before the single member bench. If it is above 50 lakhs, it would be before this thing. And if there is a pure question of fact, then it can be before single member bench. But if it involves any question of law, then it cannot be before single member bench, even if the amount is below 50 lakhs. Let's say the amount is only 10 lakhs, but it involves a question of law. In that case, it will go before the double bench of judicial and technical. It cannot be before a single member bench. Now, the question only that comes is what is question of law versus what is question of fact. Just to give an example, let us say that there is a classification issue on whether a particular component is a part of the motor vehicle or not. So whether that component is used in the motor vehicle, what is its usage, what is its characteristics, is a question of fact. But reading through the tariff notifications, the schedules, the provision to the schedules is an interpretation of law. So we need to look at if a particular thing involves question of law, then it would have to go before a double member bench. And hence, when at least our office, what we are focusing while drafting the appeals is seeing that if a particular matter is having a question of law, we are actually putting that question of law. For example, let us say in 2A versus 3B. While I can definitely give the reconciliation, I can do all the matching and all those things. However, I would also like to challenge that very provision of section 16(2) subsection, clause B, that it is unconstitutional. We have Arise India. Now we have Guwahati High Court decision, multiple decisions reading down those provisions. So we need to also challenge the very legality of the provision so that our appeal goes before the two-member bench. I want my appeal to go before a two-member bench rather than a single-member bench, because two-member bench is having a judicial member as well. That gives me, as a representative of a client, a comfort. And hence, it's important. I'm not saying to manufacture a question of law, but where it is there, we would have to properly give a question of law.
Yes. So, Lakshman, your view specifically in relation to portal related and covering letter related also, Lakshman, as to how can I communicate clearly that this particular issue is also involving a question of law? How would I communicate this particular issue to while filing the appeal also?
Yes, Venkatesh. So that's why when I'm explaining, there is a tab which we need where there is a drop down list of around 37 or 38 items. So we need to select the category of the case. Okay, it also depends on that category. Okay, as on that, we cannot say that how the tribunal is going to classify. Okay, but I can see that whatever categories they have given, based on that, they may determine whether it involves a question of law or not. Like HS and classification issue. Once you select it as a classification issue, or once you select it as a notification, dispute relating to notification. So in those cases, there is a high possibility that it may be considered as a issue involving question of law. So thereby it will go before the division bench instead of a single member bench. And at the same time, in your grounds of appeal, you have to make it very clear about the legal position of your case. Are you only disputing on the facts, or you are also disputing on the law, question of law, like 2A versus 3B issue is there, which is a common issue in many cases. In those cases, in case if you are not challenging that provision, section 16(2)(c), or you may say that legally it is not required. A reflection of ITC into A is not required during that particular financial year. Unless you question that, it cannot amount to, that issue does not involve question of law. You need to make it very specifically. Otherwise, if you are simply giving a reconciliation without taking any legal ground, then it would be considered as a matter involving question of fact, and it can be had by a single member. So if you see the yesterday's GSTAT order, so the dispute is relating to 1 versus 3B. So in that case, I can see that it was passed by the president himself, by sitting individual, a single member bench. So that you can see the differentiation.
Venkatesh, I think my suggestion would be, let us take some questions of the audience. There are a lot of questions in the chat. What we can do is first take up the questions of legality or conceptuality rather than the portal, because portal related things, a lot of things would actually get self-clarified over time. And maybe we can have another detailed session only on the portal and the procedural part.
Understood. So
we can go from
Chirayu,
top
can
to
you-
bottom in the chat. Yeah.
Venkatesh, I think a few people are raising the hands. Sir, Ravi sir, should we unmute them, sir, or should we take the questions in the chat box?
I think better we take it in chat box, because unmuting would actually become into a conversation between two parties. So let's first cover the questions that are there already, and maybe we can extend our session for some time to try to give justice to the questions coming. So maybe we can go from the top. So firstly, we'll cover questions not relating to portal, but more relating to the legality and the conceptuality of the entire appeal filing procedure. Venkatesh, you're able to highlight the questions?
Yes, sir, I'm doing it. Lakshman, first question is whether pre-deposit amount is fixed or percentage-wise.
So it depends on your tax amount. In case if your order involves tax, interest and penalty, then you need to pay deposit only on tax amount. If your tax amount is 10 lakhs, on 10 lakh rupees, you need to pay additional 10% deposit. 1 lakh rupees.
It's a percentage.
Percentages.
So next question is the tribunal appeal timeline is 3 months plus additional 3 months by way of condonation. So current due date is 30th June. Okay. So does it mean that one can take another 3 months of condonation even after 30th June, Lakshman?
No, not possible, Venkatesh, because the tribunal was already constituted in September itself. From September onwards, the filing mechanism is available. They have given a time limit of almost 9 months, and for all the long pending cases. So as per the notification issue, so we need to file appeal before 30th June. Okay, so there is no additional condonation time period, but people may get doubt because they told that up to whatever orders passed up to 30th March 2026, they told 30th June is the last date. Okay, if you see when an order is passed on 31st March 2026, okay, as per law, you have 3 months time limit. Okay, and at the same time, you also have 3 months condonation time period. Okay, in those cases, whatever orders passed in these 3 months, okay, Jan, February, March, okay, so mostly they may lose this condonation opportunity. Okay, but we can give a try because there is no specific restriction, whatever orders passed in the month of March, because we are losing the time limit of additional time limit of 3 months, we can request the bench to condone the delay.
Right.
Understood. Lakshman, next question is in relation to appeal fees, Lakshman. Like in cases of refund, the appeal fees is different, and there is also maximum cap on the appeal fees. Can you just provide whether it has to be read as CGST plus SGST or whether it has to be read as a whole, Lakshman? So can you give some insight on that particular aspect?
Yes, Venkatesh. So if you see, it should be considered act-wise because it depends on that entire amount. They told that for each 1 lakh rupees, you need to pay 1,000 rupees as the appeal filing fee and subject to maximum of 25,000. So when you're calculating that 1 lakh, you need to add all the taxes, CGST, SGST, okay, penalty, late fee, and fine as well. All consolidated cumulatively, you need to add and you need to check. And the other problem is whether 25,000 for SGST, 25,000 are for SGST. So there is some confusion, not confusion, I can say. If you read the law strictly, CGST rule says that, okay, 25,000 is the maximum amount, and the SGST rule says that 25,000 is the maximum amount. Okay, ideally, we need to pay 50,000 rupees as a maximum amount of appeal filing fee. But if you see the GSTAT portal, even if the amount is more than 25 lakhs or 15 lakhs, it is only considering 25,000. For SGST, CGST and everything consolidated.
Don't give representation to President on this part.
Yes. Now we are able to file that appeal by breaking that 25,000 only.
Understood. Lakshman, one last question. So, what would be the scenario if I am before GST Appellate Tribunal and my order is actually time barred? When I had filed the appeal before first appeal, it was a time barred appeal. So the first appeal rejected it directly. And now I am before GST Appellate Tribunal. So can they give any relief in relation to this particular issue, Lakshman? Because in earlier cases, you must have seen that all the orders were uploaded on online portal. So
Yes.
taxpayers as well as consultants do not have that track. So basically, can GSTAT condone the delay which was rejected by the first appellate authority?
So very difficult, Venkatesh. Okay, so there are certain decisions which states that even High Court do not have power to condone the delay. Okay, and there are conflicting decisions of different high courts also. But tribunal being a creature of the statute, they need to adhere to the timelines given in the GST Act. Okay, so once it is time barred, so even the tribunal do not have any power to condone the delay. So the best course of action is to ignore that appellate authority order, approach High Court and explain your bona fideness and request that High Court to exercise its extraordinary jurisdiction under Article 226. Considering that Article 226, the High Court can give directions to the appellate authority to admit that appeal. So tribunal do not have that power.
Just to add to what Lakshman has mentioned, there is something called doctrine of merger. Raja Mechanics Supreme Court decision. So doctrine of merger says if a particular order and on merits it has been upheld or rejected by the appellate authority, then that order in original merges to the order in appeal by way of doctrine of merger. However, if the order in appeal is rejected not on merits but on the limitation or this not because condonation because the time limit was over, so in that case the order in origin does not merge with order in appeal. Order in original in itself can still be challenged by way of writ. Although GlaxoSmithKline Supreme Court decision has said that it cannot be done as a matter of routine, but there are certain judgments. One is Sarojini Mishra AP High Court decision, where they have distinguished GlaxoSmithKline Supreme Court decision and allowed writ for the order in original, while order in appeal was time barred, but against order in original itself, you can go to the writ before High Court. And of course, High Court can look at Article 226 invocation.
Understood. So the two takeaways for me here would be High Court is having wide power, but having said that, allowability before GSTAT for time barred appeals seems very difficult, is what I can say. So, one important question which has been popped up in the chat box is that the single member bench, does it have to be technical member only, or can it be headed by a judicial member also?
No, single can be technical also. In fact, that very thing can also be legally, constitutionally challenged, because the whole issue which the Madras Tax Bar Association has taken up, at the time of implementation of GST itself was this, that there has to be judicial plus technical both. But I am not sure how much this would succeed, because even in GSTAT, technical members were members were hearing, and it was going on smooth. So it can be technical also.
Understood. So we are at the end of the chat box also. So all the legal questions have been exhausted. So if some other questions are there, we can unmute those participants and we can have questions on one-to-one basis.
Yeah, so maybe you can unmute Amit ji. He has raised his hand. Amit ji, just keep it crisp, your question, so that we can quickly look at answering.
Sir, I have enabled the mic for Amit sir.
Okay, he's mentioned no question. Okay. Are there any more? We can take up some portal questions, Venkatesh, in that case.
Understood. So Lakshman, the question is how GSTAT portal will appropriate the amount adjusted as pre-deposit on GST portal. So if I think what I am able to get from this particular question is that if something is already paid on the GST portal, will the GSTAT portal will take cognizance of that, or will there be no seamless mechanism between these two portals is the question.
Yes, Venkatesh. So the GSTAT portal is taking information from regular GST portal. Okay, only when you give ARN is available. If ARN is available, then only it is retrieving the details. If ARN is not available, then there is no connection with the GST regular portal. So then it is becoming a difficult. Okay, so that we need to ensure if ARN is available, all the data is getting auto-populated. So otherwise it is not getting auto-populated. We need to fill it manually. And pre-deposit details also, you need to mention it manually. Okay, as I told, in case if you have paid it through DRC03, there is an option of waiver of pre-deposit. That option you need to select, and you need to upload the DRC03, and you need to specifically mention this fact in your covering letter.
Understood. Understood, Lakshman. Next question is very practical question for authorized representatives. How the authorized authority letter should be? Should it be on a stamp paper only, or should it be notarized as well? And once you appear before the tribunal, what should be the dress code for the representation? So, and also, last follow-up question: can taxpayers represent themselves, or do they need to hire some counsel or some consultant for representation? Is the question here, Lakshman?
Yes, so the first question is how to upload this authorization. So authorization, if you see the pre-GST law system, there is a specific mechanism which they have provided. They told that on 50 rupees stamp paper, you need to print your authorization, and that needs to be submitted. So that is a mechanism which we are following. Okay, so there is no specific appeal filing fee or stamp fee is required to be paid at the time of filing appeal to GSTAT portal. So no specific thing was given in GSTAT procedure rules. So we can take printout on A4 paper and we can upload it. Okay, that is sufficient. That is for first thing. So printing of this okay authorization. And second question is who can be an authorized representative? So like chartered accountant, cost accountant, or regular employee of the company, or retired commercial tax department person. So they can act as an authorized representative. Okay, and at the same time, once you are adding certain person as an authorized representative, only he can represent before the tribunal. The company cannot represent okay before the tribunal. If they are authorizing someone, only that authorized person has to appear before the tribunal. Only he is authorized. In case if the company personnel want to attend that hearing, he need to take NOC from the authorized representative, and that needs to be filed to the GST tribunal. Then only he can appear before the tribunal. Otherwise, they cannot.
Understood. And Lakshman, what about dress code?
Unmute. Oh, yes.
Yes. So dress
Later,
code.
Chirag, you can unmute Samir.
Yes. So dress code, actually they told dress code as per the code of conduct. In case if there is any specific dress code given in our code of conduct, like CA, in case if they have given any specific dress code in our code of conduct, that is sufficient. Okay. So otherwise, they told that regular for GSTAT what we are following. So black tie we need to wear, and black coat, white shirt, and okay, black trouser. Okay. So that's it. So trouser, there is no specific requirement. So white shirt, black coat with a tie. So advocate.
See, sometimes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Lakshman, yes.
Yes, sir. So advocates, so the regular thing, what they are following before the High Court as per okay Bar Council, so that they need to follow.
Yeah.
Chirag, can you unmute Samir?
Good afternoon, Ravi sir. Am I audible?
Yes, Samirji.
Yeah. Sir, as Lakshman sir said, and you also said, ki one of my cases, like my first appeal is got rejected on the basis of time bar issue. My appeal is got filed after 90 days. So my first question is like whether GSTAT is having any power relating to remand back, or I have to submit affidavit regarding condonation issues related to my however whatever reason I got the delay in first appeal. Basically what happens sir ki in income tax we need to submit affidavit to income tax tribunal also for whatever reason I have.
Samirji, understood. Your question is clear, Samirji, understood. So see, as Lakshman also mentioned, GST Appellate Tribunal cannot help you because the GST law is very clear that condonation time limit has to be followed, and GST Appellate Tribunal, being the creature of GST law itself, cannot go beyond GST law. So they definitely cannot give you a relief in the appeal. That is very clear. Only thing is that order in original, the very order in original which was there, you can challenge that order in original by way of writ in a High Court. High Court is having vast powers under Article 226 of the Constitution. Again, it is incorrect to say that High Court will entertain your case. There is high probability that they may not entertain your case, because if there is a significant delay or condonation, generally High Courts don't entertain the case. They say you should have filed it within the time limit. Having said that, if you bring out some real anomaly, some issue with the principle of very natural justice, or some jurisdiction issue, in that case, on a case-to-case basis, High Court can take up the matter and hear the particular thing. So this is the thing that requires to be followed. But before GSTAT, you will not get the relief, sir.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yes, thank you.
So I think the last question for the day, this is for you, Ravi sir. If appeal is filed without pre-deposit, but it has been paid subsequently. So I have filed the appeal, but I did not pay the pre-deposit. The pre-deposit is paid subsequently before the hearing. However,
I don't know, Lakshman should say whether your portal will allow, Lakshman, this thing.
So the thing is the portal allows, sir, because there is an option of exemption, okay, for payment of pre-deposit. Okay, so that actually we need to use only when there is a directions from High Court, or in case if you have paid it through DRC 03. But in case if someone wants to file the appeal, okay, they can select that option. Okay, and they can proceed for filing the appeal. Okay, so that is possible, but that will not sustain, sir. Okay, because as you mentioned, pre-deposit is the precondition for filing an appeal. Without that pre-deposit, appeal cannot be considered as filed. Okay, the only thing is if you do not pay that pre-deposit within that first 3 months, ensure that you pay within next 3 months, that is within the condonable period, and you file a condonation application. So then tribunal will admit your appeal. If you pay the pre-deposit beyond that 3 months, tribunal will consider it as a time barred appeal. Okay, so that becomes a problem. So please be very careful in that area.
Correct. See, we need to understand, Anurag ji, you're mentioning that, the defect was, earlier removed. Pre-deposit as a condition came only in, August 2014. Prior to that, it was not there. So many cases which you are referring could be the ones for which the factual OIO was prior to August 2014, or the appeal was prior to August 2014. So that's a, very important aspect. So, yeah, I think there are a lot of questions that are there. Maybe what we can also do is have one session exclusively on the procedural part and the portal part sometime, maybe in March, so that all these aspects can, and by then, of course, we also would have more experience in dealing with the portal. But the intent of this session was more on the legal conceptual aspects of the GST Appellate Tribunal and the issues emanating therefrom. If you feel that your question could not be answered for any reason, just write to Lakshman or me or anybody in our office. We'll definitely try to answer your questions. Or you can just if you're in touch with anybody, just get in touch with us. We'll definitely answer your questions.
So this whatever questions in chat box, sir, I will give a reply in this chat box, so they can portal related issues. I will give a reply so that they can check it. Maybe after
Yeah,
this
you can
call.
actually go to this link and multiple
Yes.
times also you can refer all the answers.
Answers.
So that would be great. Yes. So yeah, we can conclude this particular discussion. I would like to once again thank each one of you for taking your time out and patiently listening to all thing. And our apologies if we couldn't answer your question. But as Lakshman has mentioned, he has taken this lead of replying to each and every query. So thanks a lot, Lakshman, for that. Yeah, thank you everyone for the patient listening.
Thank you everyone for joining. Thank you, Venkatesh. Thank you, Chirag.